All right, welcome to the weekend video. This is Enda, obviously, and I'm just going to go through the markets again. You know the deal. We'll run through, see what the week has done, and see what we can expect for next week. Okay, here's euro dollar. I'm going to start on the dollar pairs. Euro dollar it's come off the boil off the top. That's still what that should. I still feel like we have much further to go to the downside. But so far we've declined in 3 waves off the high. So this is a wave D of a triangle that I am tracking here. You can see this, well, long triangle, wave A, B, C into the recent high, and then wave D down, and then E left to go. So it's more or less a sideways grind for the next series, next probably 6 months or so. And here is a 4-hour chart showing a 3-wave decline initially. So I think this wave D could be tracing out a flat maybe. So we could be going 3, 3, 5 in an ABC pattern. And that's what I'm working with on the short-term count here. Just go wave A down, wave B up as a running flat, and then wave C down as an ending diagonal. So far we've had a little very slight higher low this morning off the wave C low, or so we call that the wave A low. So I'm expecting wave B over the next few days. You'll have to excuse me now because I'm kind of suffering a little bit, but only a cold. It's just that time of year, so I'm probably going to have to keep this video short before my voice deteriorates. Okay, so if this wave B, you should expect at least a 3-wave pattern higher. So if you're and in wave A of B, you should expect at least 3 waves. So I'm counting this as wave A and B of A. So we should expect a bit of a grind to the sideways, or slightly higher, sideways and higher over the next few days in wave B. So I'm not expecting a whole lot to happen in euro dollar until probably the end of next week or the middle of next week, until we complete wave B, and then we head lower in wave C again. And wave C is probably where the action will be, and if there is any tradable point, that'll be this wave B high here. So that's what we'll work on next week. For the moment, I'm looking at about 118 for this wave B to come in. You can see the 50% retracement is there at about 118.16, so we'll see how that kind of pans out over the next few days. Today, I just want to kind of confirm that we are actually complete in wave A down. All right, so let's move on to cable. Pound dollar also is a triangle that I'm working with, and wave D of a triangle also. You can see that we've come down more substantially in cable, so this is probably working out to be a 5-3-5 kind of scenario here. We'll go into the hourly count here. I see 5 waves down in A, 3 waves up in B, and we are beginning a turn lower into wave C. So it looks like we may have wave 1 and 2, and then another wave 1 and 2 into this morning's high. And there's a bit of a spike lower again today. So the wave 2 high here came after a 3-wave rally. So it looks like, if we were to pull that apart here, it's probably an A triangle B wave maybe. So an A up, A, B, C, D, E, B, and then a C up to the early high this morning. So that came in at about 8 a.m. my time. Middle of the night if you're in the States. So that's wave 2, and now we're spiking lower again into a possible third wave of a third wave. So if this is wave 3 of 3, then we should head lower for the rest of the day, at least probably into Monday or so, Monday evening. And again, there is an alternate count for wave B. So at this moment in time, it doesn't look likely, given that we've got a spike lower this morning. And if we do break 126.70, that will probably confirm this wave 3 down. I would expect this larger wave 3 in brackets here to push down towards this 123 handle over the next few days. So I'm expecting further downside with the caveat of that alternate B wave but for the moment we're looking solidly downwards. Okay, here's dollar yen. Interesting pattern. We had a break of the previous low, so we do have 5 waves down to complete wave C, and maybe now we'll start working up in a new uptrend. Again, this is a very long triangle that I've been tracking in. Probably go for the weekly chart there and see. I'll show you what I mean. This B wave triangle here has been ongoing since 2015. So 5 years of a of a sideways grind in dollar yen, and obviously it's been a little bit of a tough cookie to crack. If we go in here to the 4-hour chart, this final decline in wave E of that B wave triangle has been a tough cookie to crack. We've had 3 waves down in A, 3 up in B, and then initially I thought this was 3 waves down in C, so I thought this was a combination wave. We had a nice spike higher off that, but that just turned out to be a triangle. Final move lower, and then finally again another spike higher this week. So on the short term, I need further confirmation, but it's possible that we are working higher in an impulsive pattern. Still have to confirm that. This could be a series. This could be the 1, 2, 3, 4. This could be a 4th wave and a 5th wave coming. It could be a leading diagonal. At the moment, I'm kind of going with this extended 3rd wave theory. We'll see how that works out. This does look like some sort of consolidation, a corrective consolidation, maybe in a minor 4th wave within wave 3. You know, if you wanted to stretch this could be wave 4, wave 3, maybe wave 4, and then a little spike higher into wave 5. So we'll just have to watch how this plays out over the next few days. I will actually see alternate account right now. Insert. Come on, you darn thing. So we'd expect a 3rd, 4th, and 5th anyway to complete 5 waves up, if that's the case. In general, I'm pretty bullish. Excuse the the pause. That wasn't planned. In general, I'm pretty bullish on the dollar across the board, but you know that already. So just in dollar yen, we need more confirmation. So let's see how that pans out next week. Stock market, nothing has changed. You know, we never made a new high in the Dow, which does, let's say, add to the idea that that recent high was still just a B wave high. We're coming down reasonable. I mean, it's been a reasonable beginning, but the internal pattern here needs to be a little bit more, how would you say, a little bit more concise before, let's say, running headlong into massive short positions. I think we could still trace 5 waves down at a larger degree and then get a larger lower high somewhere up around, probably up near the election in the US. For the moment, I'm kind of working on a 1, 2, 1, 2, and maybe we're heading lower into a 3rd wave. Certainly today's action or this morning's, this would be the early morning futures, I suppose, over in the States. But we have 3 waves down. This could be a larger wave 2 tracing out, so we'll see how that applies when the US actually opens, when New York opens later. If the selling continues, I suppose this could be the beginning of a 3rd wave down. So kind of hold out convictions on that one just yet. We have a wave 2 high at 27,090, so If we do break that in, and that'll complete a three-wave pattern, then we'd expect a third of a third wave down. Actually, that should be a third of a third of a third wave down. So it could get pretty exciting next week to the downside, and that would lead us to some more clarity on how this internal pattern is developing. Targets, if we are going to decline in a third, this large third wave in green here, so we have, let's say, wave 1, 2, 3 of 3, 4 of 3, and then 5 of 3 down. The large wave 3 in green should or could come down as far as, say, the high 23s, so 23,700 or so. If that's if we get a 1.6 to 1 ratio. On the minimum expected, or the minimum expectation for wave 3 in green would be down here at below 26. So a break of 26, that'd be where wave 3 and wave 1 would reach equality. Again, it's really forcing me to be patient on this one. But so far we're still working to the downside, and I would like to see a larger five-wave pattern develop. So next week, I'm keeping my eye out for a third of a third wave decline, and a break of 26,000 would be the minimum expected level, but we could go down as far as 23, and that would be interesting, would it not? Okay. We would want to see this wave 2 high hold here, so that's about 27,530. So that one would want to stay intact for this bearish count to reach fruition, let's say. Okay, gold is moving along with the wave count pretty well. You might remember we were looking for a C wave decline and out of a triangle. That would be an alternate wave 4 there, so get rid of that. The larger scenario is, we'll go over it here, wave A down and a B wave triangle, and then wave C down. And that, for the moment, I'm looking at that as initial move lower in wave A of 4. This could also be all of wave 4, and the only reason I'm not jumping to that conclusion just yet is because there will be a pretty large discrepancy between the size of this little move off the high in comparison to almost a year and a half sideways grind in wave 2 in blue. So what I'm tracking is wave 4 in blue. Usually the fourth wave takes longer than the wave 2, so that does throw up some interesting kind of, let's say, inconsistencies if this is all of wave 4. This morning's trade is lower, so this is why I'm kind of looking at this initial 3-wave move down as wave A of a larger wave 4, and maybe we'll get a punch. It might even go to a new high in wave B and then sell again into wave C. We'll just have to see how that goes. 4-hour chart again, so you can see 3 waves down with a triangle B wave internally. And here's, you see the hourly count. Wave A down, A, B, C, D, E, wave B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Looks like we're in wave 4 at the moment. That may suggest another spike into a high of wave 4, somewhere around, let's say, 1880 or so, and then a spill down into wave 5. We'll have to see, because you could also count this high as wave 4. It's just going to be, again, it's another correction. We just don't know how it's going to pan out just yet. It looks like we've got 3 waves down so far into this morning's lows. So that's, at the moment, this is a B wave low, and I am expecting another C wave to complete ABC in 4, and then a drop into wave 5. So that's the scenario. We'll see how it plays out in reality. Reality is always a bummer, isn't it? Have these lovely scenarios, and then reality always comes and hammers on my head. So we'll see. We are we're in a pretty significant zone of support right now. If we break, we've got this A wave low here. Actually, no, that's the A wave low is the support. We're kind of hanging around that support at the moment, and it has stalled the decline, let's say, this week so far. So I think, given the action, I think this is reasonable to suggest that this is a fourth wave correction, and then we would head lower again in wave 5. Now, wave 5 has the potential to push down towards 1750. I know that might be a bit of an ask. It even has the potential to push down into the lower trend channel line, so even down around the 1700 level. At this moment in time, I'm not looking there, but I am expecting 5 waves down. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to complete down around the below 1800 probably anyway. And then once we do hit that level, depending on how the momentum is going at that point, I'll start looking for some sort of a rally in a B wave, or else a rally, a new sustained rally in a large degree fifth wave. But it's baby steps, so let's see how this C wave pans out over the next few days. This may even take the rest of next week, may even take longer, but I would give the rest of next week for this wave C to complete. We'll see how today goes. We'll update that tonight, later on anyway. Okay, move on. Crude oil. Crude oil's been a bit of a funny one of late. It went nowhere forever, and then we tumbled pretty dramatically off the highs at a possible wave 4. This could also be a B wave, depending on how you count this this daily count. This could be an A, B, C, A, and then a B wave high, and then fall down into C again. Let's see. Wave 4. We've moved initially off wave 4. We've created a 3-wave lower high, and now we're seeing weakness this week again. So let's get into the hourly count, and we'll see how that's panned out. I'm counting 5 waves down off the high. A significant 3-wave rally in wave 2, so that's wave 1 and 2 complete. And then this week we had a reasonable decline again, and reasonably impulsive looking decline. So just gonna have to see how that plays out over the next few days. Again, further corrective lower high into this very early, or the overnight high, let's say. So this could be a 1-2 pattern, or else we are working on a larger second wave. It's just hard to pull that apart at this point in time. I'm, let's say, hopeful that wave 3 of 3 is underway, but we just have to see how that goes. For next week, I would like to see this corrective consolidation kind of clear itself up. If we do have to make a larger wave 2 high, we'll see how that goes. And next week, I would like to see further declines in a possible third wave down. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, S&P, pretty good so far. How do you like that analysis? S&P pretty good so far. Let's move on. I'm counting a 1-2 pattern off the high. This is a large degree count that I have on the 4-hour chart. We'll see how that pans out. I may have to move up to that. For the moment, we'll stick with the lower degree on the hourly count. So it's a 5 waves down into wave 1, and a 3-wave up pattern into wave 2. Right now, again, I'm looking at wave 1 and 2, and maybe the beginning of a third wave again. We have targets, minimum targets down at 31.37. That is where wave 3 in green. So where's wave 3? You can see it here. Wave 3 in green will reach equality with wave 1 in green down at 31.37. Wave 3 in gray here, so this will be wave 3 of 3, will reach equality with wave 1 gray down at 31.31. So minimum targets in the 3130 area. I would like to see more downside, to be quite honest. I would like to see an acceleration down, but it doesn't matter what I want to see. What we actually see is what matters. Forgive me, my throat is starting to dry up here. So we've got a possible wave 1 and 2 either complete or underway at last night's highs, and we're falling again in the early morning futures trade. So we need to clarify what's going on here. We have 3 waves down. This could be an A, B, C in wave 2, or we could have wave 2 already complete at last night's high. If it's a third of a third, then we would expect 31 to at least break in that scenario. So hey, we might have an exciting day ahead of us in the S&P. For next week, most definitely want to see wave 3 down take full control of the market, to get out of these kind of overlapping patterns and move down, make some ground to the downside before consolidating in any fourth wave. Okay, so next week, yeah, looking down again. Is that new? Seems to be pretty common theme for me, hey? Okay, silver. We're expecting this week pretty significant decline. We got the pretty significant decline. Not sure whether we're done just yet now. I think this is a second wave. So you would expect at least a 50% retracement. So we've got 2060 there at 50%. Even more appealing looks like about the 1830 level. So that's where we have this previous fourth wave back in February, and we have this kind of left shoulder of support here that kind of formed in the early summertime before we had this kind of extreme run up in wave 1. It's pretty much the same. Well, it's a similar count to gold, although I am leaning towards a 5-wave decline off the, let's say, the September highs in wave C, and you'll see that here on the hourly count. You can see 3 waves down in wave A, 3 waves up in wave B, so that's A up, A, B, C, D, E, triangle, B wave, and then 5 waves up in wave C of B, and then wave 1 and 2 complete, and a spill down further in wave 3. We're looking for a 3-wave correction in wave 4. We've going by this morning's action, we're pretty far along in that now. We may have wave A and B near to completion, and then we rally higher in wave C. Looks like we'll probably hit some sort of corrective, or sorry, let's say resistance. We've got 2 pretty significant lows. We've got this A wave low here at 2330, and then we've got this wave 3 low at 2366. So we've got a little band of resistance there that should hold wave 4 before we move lower in wave 5. The interesting thing about it is that we've already hit the lower channel line of the trend channel, and I'm still expecting one further low, and maybe somewhere down, possibly as low as 18. But I would like to see one further low before we start moving higher or building any sort of bullish pattern off a completed second wave there. Because if this is wave 2, the retracement needs to be substantial, and I would usually look towards that kind of 62% level for wave 2. So it doesn't look like we have complete capitulation in the bullish scenario, although we're getting close. I noticed a headline, I'll link to it in tonight's update, but I noticed a headline on Zero Hedge yesterday, and it was something along the lines of, is the bull market over in gold? I know that's gold, it's not silver, but precious metals in general, we see a correction, and at the end of a corrective phase, you would like to see some sort of capitulation start appearing in media, in general media, kind of lamenting the death of the previous trend. So we've had that. Well, that was the first one I saw. So we may have a little bit more to go in order for that kind of lamentation to hit the general airwaves. But it was an interesting headline. Is the bull market over in gold? So that I kind of noted. Mental note on that one. Maybe we've seen, at least the beginnings of the end of this correction. But in my estimation, we have a little bit further to go before we form a significant low and a pretty significant buying opportunity in both gold and silver. Okay, Bitcoin. I was kind of getting a little bit iffy about Bitcoin, and I am. Well, I've always been iffy about Bitcoin, but in general, as a, I always get slack for this, but as a so-called asset, in general, I've been iffy about Bitcoin. The pattern is very, very, very interesting off the what I'm calling a third wave high here, this recent high. I hate when this happens. Okay, I'll go to the daily chart. I'm tracking a 3-wave move in a B wave before we see complete capitulation and complete collapse in wave C. Bitcoin will be probably a stupendous buy down around $100 again. But nobody wants to hear that, eh? This to me is quintessential B wave that's been tracing out for 2 years now. We're coming on 2 years now. So we've got initial 5 waves up in wave A, 3 waves down in wave B, and now 1, 2, 3, 4, and possibly one more high in wave 5 up around 13,800. But hold on, hold the horses there right now. The decline off the recent high could be an impulsive decline. So we might be gearing up for wave C sooner than one might have expected. Now, this week's move, spike higher, has kind of saved its bacon slightly. Here's this wave 3, so it's kind of a truncated C wave. If this is the top of wave C of B, it's a bit of a truncated C wave. But we could have an ongoing 5-wave pattern lower. And if that's the case, then things might get hairy pretty soon. This could also be a wave 1, 2, 1, 2 pattern. And if that's the case, things will get very hairy very soon to the downside. Now, I'm still sticking with the bullish count, and yesterday's action is the main reason for that at the moment. But I have very serious reservations about what might be happening here in Bitcoin. And the main reason would be you can also count this as a 1, 2 off the high and then a 1, 2. And if this is a second wave, then you would be looking at possible flat, so 3 up, maybe into this. Depends on how we count this. We could have wave 1 here, but you could also count this as 3 up in wave A, 3 down in wave B, and then a 5-wave pattern in wave C. So that could be a flat ABC pattern. Now, you will notice that off this recent high at 11,162, we have a pretty clear 5-wave move lower. Now, if that's the case, that's wave 1, 2, acceleration wave 3, consolidation wave 4, spike lower in wave 5. We didn't make a new low, but what happens next will be key. So if we trace out 3 waves up and we have a further lower high below 11,160, possibly in around 10,900 or so, or 10,980, and we spike lower again, then I would get very worried about a Bitcoin in the longer term. And what I'm trying to allude to here is we may have this long C wave already begun, and if that's the case, watch out. If you're a Bitcoin bull, watch out. Okay, let's move on. Clarification next week in Bitcoin would be good. And we've got the DAX. The DAX was looking pretty hairy last week, and we're still expecting a third wave decline. And we have a nice acceleration in and an impulsive pattern in wave 3 now, well underway. It looks like we have wave 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, and 5 now underway. And if that's the case, then this is a nice third wave down. We'll experience some sort of right-hand shoulder here in a fourth wave next week, and then further declines in wave 5. If that's the case again, then you can kiss sayonara to the European economy. If the DAX is rolling over, Europe is dead. Okay. Needless to say, I'm not a bull in the DAX right now. But we do need a larger 5-wave pattern. This is good. It's a good candidate as a third wave down, and that's what we were looking for this week. So, I'm pleased on that front. But further clarification, a larger 5-wave pattern in that'll be wave 1 in blue. So we would be looking at wave 1 in blue here. And then a larger lower high in wave 2. For the moment, the bearish count is definitely where it's at, and we will see how this pans out next week. Okay, Nasdaq, we're looking good for a reversal off an all-time high. The short-term pattern looks like clear 5 waves down in wave 2, clear 3-wave pattern up in wave. 5 waves down in wave 1, clear 3-wave pattern up in wave 2. We may have a 1-2-1-2 scenario building off that second wave lower high here. If that's the case, watch out next week because we may be accelerating into a third wave down. Today, it's impossible to know at the moment. It looks the decline in the futures looks a little bit weak, to be honest. So we may be looking at some sort of a larger 3-wave pattern here in wave 2 before we move into wave 3 down next week. So I'll actually move that out. 3, 4, and 5 of 3. Now, if this count is correct, we have an acceleration lower next week, and get ready. It's going to be interesting. Okay, I'm going to go to the Hong Kong market. I was, over the last few weeks, talking about the pretty clear 3-wave lower highs that we're building in the Hong Kong market. This is it's not exactly the Hang Seng, but anyway, we've got 3 webs up into the June highs. Interesting pattern off that high. It can be stretched to a 5-wave pattern, but it could also be 3 waves. I'm not willing to call that just yet. If it is a wave 1 down, well then this corrective lower high again definitely points to an impulse wave. And this week's action kind of further clarifies that idea. We have retraced a whole lot of that post-March reflation rally, which topped out in Hong Kong in July. Interesting how it's topped out earlier and leading the way down again. So far, we've only got 3 waves down. So off the high, 3 waves down, and we have hit the lower trend channel line now. If we accelerate through that lower trend channel line, then we can safely suggest that we are actually working on a larger impulsive pattern down, maybe a third wave down. So I would watch out in Hong Kong. So that nice little 3-wave lower high did point us in the right direction. In the hourly chart here, you can see there's that 3-wave lower high that I've been looking at, and then possible 5 waves down in wave 1. Again, a further 3-wave lower high and an acceleration lower this week. This could be a third wave down. If that's the case, let's see if we can make some projections. Oh, the exciting bit, projections. So let's get a fib grid on that. If this is how it's going to pan out, 162% extension of wave 1. We could get a third wave down around the 21,922 level. So further to go in a third wave. The action overnight and this morning looking quite, it's pointing that way anyway. Market in Hong Kong is pretty much coming to a close right now, so we're closing lower again. It's pointing to further declines next week, and we may even push towards that low 22 level in a third wave down. So the short term, we're looking lower, and it is interesting how this market is leading the rest of the world to the downside. I want to look at the Aussie dollar today as well. It's again we had this real huge reflation rally off the March lows. How it tracked the stock market higher is amazing. But then again, euro dollar is the same thing. Pound dollar did more or less the same thing. The pattern in Aussie dollar is a little bit strange. I haven't been tracking it as of late, but this move lower is definitely looking like an impulsive move off the high. We have it could be a 1-2 pattern, and that really sticks out as a third wave, either that or a C wave. So it could be an ABC also. If it is, it's an extended C wave. We have a nice significant high and a significant lower high and an acceleration. So we could be building a longer term decline in Aussie dollar right now, which is interesting. Okay, I think that does it. Before I continue rambling and I turn into a complete frog, my voice is about to give up now anyway, so let's end that there. Thank you guys for hanging around for the week. I'm sorry I didn't get a weekend or a midweek video done this week, but it just didn't work out that way. I send the Lord's blessings to you all this weekend. I hope you can stay within His shalom, and next week we'll tackle this again and see where it leads us. In general, I can't stop looking down. Maybe I'm just a shoegazer, as they used to say. Okay, thank you again. Thanks for watching. God bless you all, and we will see you tonight for website subscribers on the nightly update, and again next week for all you YouTube guys and gals. And have a great weekend. Stop rambling, and goodbye.